order in charge of the Order of the Sons of Italo-Americans. And these people are the people behind 9/11. These are the Gladio infidels that brought down the Twin Towers. These are the people they should lock up, and not the people in Guantanamo. Because the people who have brainwashed the innocent. Sorry?
How are these people? Are you saying that these people are like higher than governments? Are they the government behind the government? Is that what is that?
That is the government behind the government, which is in the hands of the Vatican. He's the New World Order of the Knights of Malta, of the Gladio, of the operations like Gladio, that from stayed behind operations against the communists, which was just obviously a theater, became now a whole another theater with this Islamic fundamentalist puppet show that goes on since the end of the 70s, since 1979, when Jimmy Carter started with the show in Afghanistan. But this is, at the end of the day, the work of the devil, which is in the Vatican. In the Vatican, the Jesuit general himself gives the orders to the Pope, who is himself a very questionable guy, because he himself is an homosexual, was a 24-year-old gay lover, and he himself is the biggest infidel you can have in the world.
Who's
and
that?
He's sitting inside the throne of Peter.
Who is that?
That's Joseph Ratzinger. That's the Pope, Benedict, who was a gay lover and is sitting in the throne of Peter in Rome. This is the guy you should look after, because he's the guy who has begun this crusade to the Middle East. And he is the guy behind the Zionists, because he is the one who is giving the orders to the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, because the biggest cash and the biggest money is in the Vatican Bank. And this was why the P2 scandal took enormous proportions when it erupted 25 years ago.
Okay, so why should the average person out there be worried? Why should we be worried about what these people do?
Because these people are using psychological operations, like, for example, MK Ultra has been an experiment of the government. It went on, and instead of using drugs, they use religious fundamentalism and a way of brainwashing innocent people that find themselves puppets of these vicious games. The most fundamentalist text came out of the United States CIA bases at the end of the 70s, when they went and they spread in the Middle East and elsewhere. Those texts were written in the USA, and they were written under the orders of the Vatican, under the orders of the Jesuits. And we are here now in this moment of time having to defend ourselves against the enemy within, because this enemy is the enemy that has brought down 9/11, has brought down the Twin Towers, has made a show out of something, and has also insulted personally my religion, which is the religion of Islam, which I believe in.
Okay, so now tell me, you used to be also involved with the Vatican too, so you were on the inside with in the Vatican?
Yes, I started when I was 10 years old, working with little radio shows for kids. At 13, I started with radio created by Monsignor Mario Pieracci, who is one of the people who has founded the Satellite 2000 Corporation, the Vatican Satellite Broadcasting Corporation, which is very popular. He was one of the founders. I started with him. I started within the radio environment, the media, and then after I went on becoming a record producer, but everything had to be for brainwashing the people. I was working in the name of propaganda. Propaganda was also the name of my lodge, the lodge I entered after I was initiated in 1993.
Okay, so now you did mention that in those meetings at the lodge there was some rituals, and you sent me a picture of a mask, as a matter of fact. What's behind the mask, and tell me about the rituals that you used to have in those Illuminati meetings.
Okay, that mask particularly is a gift of our senior Illuminati from Russia, Senator Sergei Gordiev. It was an original mask that was used within the rituals that were presented to Nikolai II, because they wanted to convert him, and he was actually a messenger of the 13th Dalai Lama, who brought that mask, which is a mask which is used to see the future, basically in a state of trance. I have to say that this mask is being given to me by the Russian Illuminati because they were very scared of his power. So I became entrusted with the power of this mask, which I took when I went for my special, I did a special event in Russia, in Moscow, for the Illuminati in February 2002, the Bolshoi. It was $1,000 a ticket, and it was a party that we organized for the children's victims of terrorism. But this was done before the plan.
Okay. So now, what is so? You said they worship Lucifer and they worship Satan.
Yes, in specific
tell me about
lodges.
that.
Yes, in specific lodges of the Ordo Templi Orientis. Ordo Templi Orientis created by people like Theodor Reus of the German intelligence, close to the Illuminati from Bavaria, and creator of another branch of the Illuminati from Bavaria. Well, these lodges are very specific. The Ordo Templi Orientis you can go and find on the internet. It's a very big network of Satanists worldwide that believes in the teachings of Aleister Crowley, who is defining himself as the Beast 666. And in these lodges they evoke Baphomet, they evoke the image of Lucifer, they use ancient Egyptian texts because they invoke the original entities, Horus, Isis, Osiris. They are into pagan worship, really, because Satanism goes through paganism, and they are worshipping genies, basically, the demons inside these lodges. They are also getting people inside these triangles to get possessed by demons.
Okay. Now,
Or if
we
they get
hear
inside
that, George Bush is an Illuminati, John Kerry. We even hear about, like, the leaders in the world, even the ones we know, and even some of the Arab and Muslim leaders, that they are with Freemasons. Is that true?
Yeah, because the problem is this. Freemasonry is made in a way that makes everybody happy, so it adapts. So, for example, if it goes in a country where it offends something, then it changes its ritual to not offend that thing. Rituals in Freemasonry, for example, have been changed in the United States in the last 200 years, just to make the higher degrees available to the Jews, Zionists, who wanted to take control over the higher degrees. But unfortunately, the higher degrees originally were Christian, so the degrees were then changed. For example, Freemasonry in Scandinavia is an elitarian Christian Nazi kind of situation where if you're not Christian, you can't join. And that is against the universality of Freemasonry worldwide. But still, in Scandinavia, you can't join if you're not a Christian. So Freemasonry adapts, and in the Muslim world, it has taken its own shape. In the Turkish Ottoman Empire, it was totally independent and in the hands of Sufis, and that's why this was linked to the Sufi, and it was considered to be a sort of Sufi order. But that was the original Ottoman Empire Freemasonry, which has nothing to do with the English and the French, which after went there in the Middle East and obviously fought against the Turkish Ottoman and brought down the empire with Ataturk, who was initiated in Italy and who was an agent of the Illuminati and a Satanist.
Okay. Now, what's the deal with the Illuminatis or the Freemasons want to build Solomon's Temple in Jerusalem?
What they want to do for lodges like the Corte Coronati 2076, which is the key lodge of research in London, in the United Genealogy of England, with people like Robert Gilbert and people like Michael Bagent, who we see is very popular as a writer these days, is to